On a late-night drive through rural Texas, Sarah felt the emptiness of the highway pressing against her chest. The glow of her headlights barely cut through the dark, and the silence of the road was unsettling. Then, in her rearview mirror, she noticed a black SUV trailing her. At first, she thought it was just another traveler, but after 30 minutes, the SUV stayed the exact same distance behind her. Anxiety grew with every passing mile, her palms sweaty on the wheel. When she finally pulled into a gas station for a sense of safety, the SUV vanished. Relieved, she leaned back in her seat. But before she could breathe, her eyes flicked to the mirror again. A figure, tall, motionless, faceless, stood directly behind her car. Sarah froze, too terrified to move, realizing she was no longer alone on the silent highway. Something unnatural was following her. Shaken to her core, Sarah sped away until the glowing vacancy sign of a roadside motel came into view. Desperate for rest, she stumbled into the front office. The desk clerk, a tired old man with hollow eyes, shuffled through keys and hesitated. "Don't take room 6, he muttered, sliding her another. But when she asked why, he only shook his head, refusing to say more. With no other options, she accepted the key. The room smelled of dust and old wood, its silence thick. As Sarah tried to settle, faint scratching echoed from behind the bathroom walls. She gathered courage and opened the door, but the sound stopped instantly. Nothing was there, only a motel key resting on the sink. Confused, she picked it up. The brass tag glimmered under the light. Her blood ran cold when she saw the number etched into it, room 6, the room she was standing in. Sleep was impossible. Sarah sat trembling on the edge of the bed, clutching the strange key. Suddenly, her phone lit up, displaying unknown caller. Against her better judgment, she answered. A voice, low and broken, whispered into her ear, "Don't look behind you." The word sent chills down her spine. She dropped the phone, heart pounding, scanning the room. The walls seemed to breathe, closing in on her. Her panic grew unbearable, and she ran outside into the night air. Relief lasted only a second before she noticed her car's tires had been slashed, every one of them shredded beyond repair. Across the street, the old payphone swayed back and forth, creaking in the wind. It was as if someone had just used it moments ago. Sarah's chest tightened. Was the caller near? The desolate road offered no help, no light, only silence, broken by her trembling breath in the darkness. As the night deepened, flashing blue and red lights suddenly appeared behind Sarah. A highway patrol cruiser slowed to a stop, and an officer stepped out. His uniform was crisp, his posture rigid, and his voice strangely calm as he asked if she needed help. Relief washed over her, and she climbed into the passenger seat. The car rolled smoothly down the empty highway, but an eerie silence filled the space. The officer didn't speak, didn't even look at her. Sarah glanced at him nervously and realized something horrifying. His chest wasn't rising, no breath, no life. Gathering courage, she turned her head fully, but the seat beside her was empty. Yet the steering wheel turned on its own, and the cruiser kept driving into the darkness. She clawed at the door handle, trapped in a vehicle guided by an unseen driver, her terror building with every passing mile. The patrol car screeched to a halt outside a crumbling church in Louisiana. Its towering spire leaned dangerously, and broken stained glass windows stared like hollow eyes. Sarah stumbled out, desperate to escape, but something drew her inside. Dusty pews lined the sanctuary, and ancient hymnals lay scattered. On the pulpit, a half-burned Bible sat open to a passage about the Watchers. Candles flickered to life one by one without a single match struck, bathing the church in a golden glow. The old pipe organ groaned, keys moving on their own to play a hymn Sarah had never heard before. Trembling, she backed away and noticed deep carvings in the wood of the last pew. Her own name was etched there, jagged and fresh, alongside tomorrow's date. The air turned ice cold as realization set in. The church was not abandoned. It had been waiting for her, and only her. Sarah bolted for the exit, heart slamming against her ribs. But as she stepped outside, the night seemed heavier, unnatural. She froze when she noticed her shadow stretching across the ground, but it wasn't following her movements. Instead, it slithered toward her, reaching out like hands. Then, more shadows crept from the corners of the church, whispering her name in voices too low to be human. Terrified, she ran, but the whispers grew louder, chasing her into the open road. The same black SUV that had haunted her earlier sat parked nearby, its engine rumbling softly, door hanging open as if inviting her inside. Against every instinct, she hesitated, torn between two horrors, running into the woods where shadows stalked her or climbing into the vehicle that had never left her side. Her choice loomed in the suffocating silence, while unseen eyes waited for her to decide. Inside the SUV, the air was thick with the smell of leather and dust. Sarah's trembling hands searched the back seat, and what she found made her stomach lurch. A stack of photographs, every single one of her, spanning from her childhood birthday parties to pictures taken just last week. Each photo was marked with black ink, circling her face. She pulled out a notebook buried beneath the photos. Every page was covered in one repeated phrase: she must not look behind her. The words danced before her eyes as headlights appeared in the rearview mirror. Another vehicle approached fast, closing in. Her pulse quickened as she clutched the book tighter. Who was following her? What did they want? As the lights grew brighter, her reflection in the mirror blurred, and for a split second, it looked like someone else was staring back at her. The blinding headlights forced Sarah to shield her eyes. She stumbled out of the SUV, waving frantically for help as the car slowed to a stop in front of her. The driver's door creaked open, and Sarah's breath caught in her throat. Standing before her was herself, an exact double. The doppelgänger smiled faintly, tilting its head with unsettling calm. "I told you not to look behind you," it whispered, voice echoing like two people speaking at once. Fear clawed at Sarah's chest as she realized the warnings, the whispers, the carvings, it had all been leading to this moment. Her knees buckled as the air grew heavy, pressing against her body. Against her will, she turned her head, finally breaking the one rule. A scream tore from her lips as the world around her dissolved into darkness. The last sound was the echo of her own voice.